Welcome back to Movies Explained. Today's film is a horror from 2023 titled Evil Dead Rise. The film begins at a serene lake house where Teresa is peacefully sitting by the water. Suddenly, her tranquility is shattered when her friend Caleb's drone startles her. Caleb arrives, teasing her, and she becomes angered by his behavior. In response, she questions whether he should be more concerned about his girlfriend Jessica's well-being. Caleb assures her that he gave Jessica medicine and assures Teresa that she'll be fine. Curiosity piqued, Teresa decides to check on Jessica herself. As she enters the room, she finds Jessica peacefully asleep, so she takes a seat by her side and starts reading Wuthering Heights. Unexpectedly, Teresa hears Jessica reciting words from the very page she's reading. Shocked, Teresa watches as Jessica's voice transforms into a deep and horrifying tone. Alarmed, Teresa demands that Jessica be silent and cautiously approaches her. Jessica suddenly falls silent and collapses from the bed. Rushing to Jessica's side, Teresa discovers her unconscious. Suddenly, Jessica awakens, experiencing violent seizures. Teresa tries to help, but Jessica unexpectedly grabs Teresa's ponytail and scalps her. In a daze, Teresa stumbles toward Caleb, who is shocked by her possessed appearance. Seizing Caleb's drone, Jessica smiles at him before slashing her own face with it and plunging into the water. Driven by instinct, Caleb jumps into the water to rescue Jessica, but she drags him down, intending to kill him. In a gruesome act, Jessica hurls Caleb's severed head at Teresa before menacingly rising above the water. Rewinding time by one day, the narrative shifts to Beth, a woman attending a music venue with the band she works for. Troubled, Beth takes a pregnancy test in the bathroom, her expression filled with worry as she learns the result. Elsewhere, Ellie, Beth's sister who is a tattoo artist, lives with her 3 kids, Danny, who wants to be a DJ, Bridget, who is an activist, and Cassie, who is very interested in the macabre. Bridget receives a knock at the door from Jake, their neighbor, accompanied by his younger brother Scott. Jake harbors a crush on Bridget and invites her to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but Bridget declines. Beth arrives at Ellie's apartment to speak with her, but their relationship is strained, marked by past complications with their mother. Beth brings gifts for Ellie and the children, but when she unveils a present intended for their father, an uncomfortable silence falls upon them. Ellie sends the kids out to get pizza and privately reveals to Beth that her husband left 2 months ago. Beth questions why Ellie didn't inform her sooner, and Ellie reveals she attempted to contact her twice. Realizing her own mistake, Beth apologizes, but Ellie remains furious. Later, as Beth listens to Ellie's voicemails on her phone, Ellie approaches her to talk. Beth tells Ellie that she's made a mistake again and needs her help to fix things. The children return from getting pizza just as a powerful earthquake shakes the apartment building, leaving everyone terrified. Once the tremors stop, Danny discovers an opening in the parking garage, leading him to a hidden room filled with vinyl records and a mysterious book known as the Naturum Demontu, the Book of the Dead. Excitedly, Danny brings the book back to the apartment to show Bridget, suggesting that their mother could sell it for extra money. Bridget, however, insists that they shouldn't profit from something he stole. When Danny attempts to open the book, he accidentally cuts his hand, causing his blood to drip onto the book. As Bridget watches in horror, the book opens on its own, revealing terrifying illustrations. Filled with fear, Bridget demands that Danny put the book back immediately. As Bridget leaves, Danny succumbs to his curiosity and listens to one of the vinyl records. The voice of a priest emerges, speaking about the nature of the Necronomicon, reciting an unholy incantation. Terrified, Danny attempts to stop the record as the pages of the book begin turning. Meanwhile, Ellie rides the elevator back up, unaware of the approaching force towards their building. As she steps out, she is suddenly assaulted by an unseen entity, causing the elevator to plummet rapidly. Overwhelmed by the ordeal, Ellie faints. When Ellie regains consciousness, she is plagued by a throbbing headache. Desperately seeking help, she screams and tries to escape, only to discover that she is accompanied by the evil entity. It torments her mercilessly, binding her with the elevator cables. In a chilling turn of events, the entire building loses power, leaving their apartment in darkness. Bridget informs Beth that their building appears to be the only one affected by the power outage. While Danny checks the fuse, Bridget begins lighting candles. Suddenly, Ellie returns to the apartment, now possessed by the demonic deadites. She proceeds to the kitchen, igniting the gas stove and cracking eggs onto a frying pan. Shocked and bewildered, Beth questions Ellie's actions. In a calm voice, Ellie speaks disturbingly about cutting her children open and climbing inside them. She then crawls aggressively in their direction before throwing up on the ground, terrifying the kids. The real Ellie manages to plead with Beth to protect her children from the demons before collapsing. Danny and Beth attempt to carry Ellie to the hospital when they notice the elevator broken. Beth seeks assistance from Ellie's neighbors, Gabriel and Mr. Fonda, who help put Ellie to bed. Meanwhile, Gabriel and Mr. Fonda venture out through a fire escape in search of help. Beth reflects on her strained relationship with her sister, expressing regret. Suddenly, Ellie's possessed voice emanates from Beth's phone, saying that she's burning, followed by the phone breaking. Beth discovers a fly in her eye, and when she blinks, she springs back to life. The children arrive, relieved to find their mother alive, but Beth notices that Ellie is burning up. Beth and Danny place her in a bathtub filled with cold water. Ellie's eyes roll back, and she unexpectedly jumps onto the wall as Bridget rushes Cassie away. Ellie crawls along the wall, letting out a bone-chilling shriek, heard even by Gabriel and Fonda outside, as a result, shattering the mirrors in the bathroom. She falls back into the bathtub, momentarily silent. As she emerges from the water, she tells Danny that Mommy is with the maggots now. Ellie climbs out of the bathtub, preparing to attack Beth. As Beth defends herself, Ellie stabs her hand with a shard of glass. Pulling it out, Ellie turns her attention towards Bridget, leaping at her and carving her cheek with a tattoo pen. As Ellie tries to lick her wound, Danny intervenes, knocking her down with a chair, causing her to tumble into a dark room. At that moment, Gabriel arrives, and as Ellie lunges at him, they manage to escape the apartment. Ellie bites Gabriel's eye out. As he throws her aside, she coughs up his eye, which lands in Jake's mouth. Seizing the opportunity, Beth locks Ellie out, and Ellie begins banging her head against the door. After a period of relative calm, Beth peeks through the peephole and witnesses Ellie ruthlessly chasing and killing Jake. Suddenly, Gabriel rises, seeking help, but Ellie swiftly slits his throat. Mr. Fonda attempts to shoot Ellie with his rifle, but she overpowers him, viciously killing him as well. Ellie then peers through the peephole, intensifying the tension. Bridget asks Danny if he notices the resemblance between their mother and the images in the book. Danny insists it's not his fault, sparking an argument between them. Beth intervenes, calming them down. Danny says he wants to show Beth something, and he gives her the book. Beth feels confused and wants to know what it is. Meanwhile, Cassie asks Bridget if her wounds hurt, but Bridget reassures her and departs. Cassie hears her mom's voice singing and follows the sound. Danny shows Beth the vinyl record, explaining that it contains a chilling passage read by a priest, a dark prayer from the book. Bridget examines her wound, which has begun turning black, and is suddenly startled by a noise. Meanwhile, the book's pages begin to turn, and ink starts coming out of Bridget's face. She rushes to rinse her face, only to vomit a swarm of insects. Elsewhere, Ellie tries to persuade Cassie to open the door. Once Cassie unlocks it, Ellie immediately lunges for her throat as Beth and Danny rush to her aid, managing to lock the door again. As they hear noise from the kitchen, Beth goes to investigate and finds Bridget perched on the counter chewing on glass. Bridget laughs and spits on Beth's face, causing her to stumble to the ground. She crawls towards Beth, but Beth manages to kick her away. In response, Bridget slashes her leg with a cheese grater. Undeterred, Beth strikes Bridget down with a stew pot, and as Danny arrives, Bridget gives chase and runs into Cassie. As she charges at her, Cassie impales her through the mouth with the pointed end of a makeshift doll. Danny restrains Bridget, tying her up and placing her in bed for safety. Beth proceeds to fix Danny's equipment to listen to the vinyl. They hear the priest describing how he was compelled to dismember his possessed companions as he struggled to find a way to kill them. While Ellie attempts to re-enter the apartment through the vents, killing a cat in the process, Bridget emerges from her room. Danny notices Bridget rushing towards Cassie and selflessly pushes her out of harm's way, stabbing Bridget in the process. Bridget lashes out at Danny, she removes the knife and stabs his hand, and vomits blood in his face. She tells Danny that she warned her about putting the book back, but Danny manages to ignite Bridget using a pain relief spray. Meanwhile, as Beth listens to the vinyl, Ellie crawls out of the vent and Beth catches her reflection in the glass, standing behind her. Terrified, Beth turns off the vinyl player, prompting Ellie to use her finger to resume playing the record, with the voice emanating from her own mouth. Beth tries to stab Ellie in the neck with a screwdriver, but it proves ineffective, and Beth is thrown out of the room. Beth discovers Danny injured and Cassie hiding under a table. Danny apologizes to Cassie before succumbing to his injuries. Ellie approaches and attacks Beth. She senses that she's pregnant and is clearly enjoying the idea of murdering both Beth and her unborn child. However, Cassie slides a pair of scissors toward Beth, who swiftly impales them in Ellie's nose. Beth then takes Cassie and resolves to find a way to escape safely. Armed with Fonda's shotgun, Beth realizes that Ellie is still alive and removing the scissors from her nose. As Beth prepares to blow open the fire escape door, Ellie tries to attack them, prompting Beth to shoot her leg off. Ellie informs Cassie that Beth is trying to take her mother away, but Cassie recognizes that Ellie is no longer her real mom, and Beth proceeds to shoot Ellie's arm off. However, the neighbors whom Ellie had previously killed have become deadites as well, and as she kills Mr. Fonda, deadite versions of Bridget, Danny, and Ellie begin laughing at her. Beth and Cassie make their way down while blood starts filling the elevator. Bridget and Danny begin dismembering Ellie's body to transform her into a spider deadite. Beth and Cassie reach the parking garage and almost manage to escape, but their car gets stuck in a pothole. Cassie alerts Beth to the approaching spider deadite, but just as it reaches their car, they escape and take cover. They continue running until the deadites grab Cassie and attempt to drag her away. Beth arrives in time to shoot the deadites, preventing Cassie from being decapitated by a chainsaw. However, the chainsaw is thrown at Beth, causing her to fall, and as she reaches for it, the deadites grab her leg and drag her. They activate a wood chipper, intending to feed Beth into it, but Cassie manages to turn it off. Beth recovers the chainsaw and cuts Ellie, Bridget and Danny up, forcing them into the wood chipper. Beth feels bad about killing her sister, niece and nephew, but she still launches deadite Ellie's head into the wood chipper. Cassie mourns the loss of her family, and Beth consoles her as they leave the building. The following day, it is revealed that Jessica lived on the floor below Ellie and the kids. She prepares to join Caleb and Teresa, only to discover the horrifying aftermath from the previous night. The unseen entity then pursues Jessica, prompting the movie to end with her scream. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more videos.